There you go. Show number 48. And we've had some technical issues tonight. Nicole's just moving the camera there now. Nicole, you got to come in front of camera for a little bit, because it was a day we were going to have technical issues. It was the day Nicole's got the Ebola AIDS after the after show. So lock her in, Nicole.
Okay, you're back.
Oh, we're back. See, take her away from the computer for 1 second. I'm pretty sure we just have a dodgy cable in here somewhere, which is throwing it all out. So we've been replacing cables. We did get halfway through a story with Timmy Morgan in the first segment. We're going to run that again because we only got a few minutes into that. But we do have a prize for tonight. If you have hung around and you're waiting for the prize, it's pretty good. We've got a pack of Bait Junkies, a couple of packs of the Crush Shitty samples. I've got a couple of Duo Realis Minnows to give away. I've got a couple of Atomic crankbaits. I have a couple of more Atomic hard baits right there. I've got a Halco Bass. I've got a Bassmaster Classic pin. That is Carl Jochimson's first Bassmaster Classic. That's in there. And some 33-pound Atomic lines, as well as a pair of Maui Jim sunglass cleaners. Nearly had you there. Let us know where you're from, and give Nicole some encouragement, because it wasn't her fault that it all fell over then. It was just technology's fault. So let us know where you're from. Give Nicole a pat on the back. And these prizes might be yours, including the pin. Okay, what are we going to talk about tonight? We've got the next two Bass Pro events in the 13 Fishing Bass Pro Series coming up. We're going to talk to Tim Morgan and Tommy Wood tonight about those two events. One sponsored by Crush Shitty from Rapala, one sponsored by X-Braid from Samaki. So we have those two bass guys telling us what's what. We also have these next two events are going to decide the Bass Pro Angler of the Year for both the boaters and the non-boaters. So Nicole, have we got the tables there that you want to bring up? Let's bring up the non-boater first. Let's have a look at the non-boaters. Corey Goldie leading that race at the moment by only 2 points over Jake Hardy. So Jake Hardy, I have a look at them there, and I have a look at who's got the worst points. Jake Hardy's got a 92 in there that he needs to upgrade. Corey Goldie's got an 86, and both of those guys are fishing these next two events. We've also got guys like Benny Farrow that's got 2 second places there, but I'm pretty sure Benny's not fishing this next event. And Rob Tilley probably not fishing the next event. Steve Mears. Is he coming up, Nicole? Yeah. You got a tick there. So Steve Mears puts another couple of good results there. They could shake it up. Look, 2 events to go. That's 1/3 of the season. Anyone could be the Bass non-boater. But hey, Corey Goldie's got the points on the board at the moment. Let's go to the boaters. Mitchell Cone leading that at the moment, 385 points. He's got a win, a 97, a 95 and a 93 is his worst one. Braden Shue's got a couple of second places, a 7th and an 84. So the 10-point gap there is pretty easily fixed if Braden Shue walks in with the top 5 in one of those 2 events. Mitchell Cone and Braden and Mick Johnson, who has 2 wins, a 5th and a shocker at 73. Mick Johnson's right in the race here at the moment. And even guys like Keegan Painter, Keegs, win a couple of events, mate, you're going to be right up in the AOY race. Once you get down to about 8th place, that loser at 8th place has got no chance. So that's where we're sitting with the AOY at the moment.
Cameron Hall's only done 2.
Oh, yes. Cameron Hall has gone 2 events and they're 2 top 5. So Cameron Hall's coming up. You might have someone from off this page coming up and swooping. So we can prognosticate all we like, but after these next 2 events, this time next week I'll have a much better idea of who's might win AOY. As I say, if you want to win the big pile of prizes, let us know where you're from. Give Nicole a pat on the back for pulling everything apart and re-putting it back together in 15 minutes. Right now, though, let's go to when I caught up with Timmy Morgan earlier today about the Crush City round at Somerset. So what are the chances? I found my brother at the back, Tim Morgan from Rapala. He'll be coming into one of your rounds here, mate. Look at this, the Crush City round at Somerset Dam. And I would have bet money that you would have been fishing there. You like fishing Somerset?
I love Somerset. I love Wivenhoe. I love my job butt too. And someone's got to stay back and hold the fort. So big Michael J. Horn is going up there to crush it.
Is he pulling rank as the best bass fisherman in Rapala or what?
No, he got it there by default, I think. I'm saving all my brownie points to go up and fish Tinaroo and the Barra Tour up around Mackay.
And you know what? Retrospectively, that might be a good idea. Look, this is the time of year that these 2 Brisbane Valley Lakes fire. The bass are about as fat as they get. Between now and about October, you just catch those big rode-up female fish.
Like this, and then later in the year, like that.
So I really think it's like a time of the year everyone likes. The days are starting to get longer. Outside today is actually quite warm. And it's that springtime bite we all like. It's been a big week for us, though. We've been at the After Trade Show. You released some new baits. Take us through the new Crush City baits that you guys launched.
Well, for us, for bass, we really only launched one this year, which was the smaller heavy hitter than last year. We've got the 3-inch heavy hitter. Huge amount of body roll for a small plastic. Accounted for numerous bass over 50 centimetres in the testing phase. So 8 awesome colours in that, and I reckon they'll play a bit of a part up at the lakes if you get a plastic bite. The other models in the range are a little bit bigger. So we've got a 5 and a 7-inch jerk. We've got a 5.5-inch heavy hitter, which is going to be perfect up there on those Barra lakes.
Yep.
But the lure of the show for us, for the soft baits, was the 4.5-inch imposter. So that shrimp imitation, which I've caught plenty of bass on the 3-inch version, but that bigger version is going to be awesome for everything that eats prawns, which is everything.
Everything. Well, I'm surprised you haven't got the trophies here. The Rapala had a good time at the show. Best hard lure, best soft lure, a stand award, I think, as well.
Best medium stand. And
by the time this goes on the live show tonight, you'll find out whether you've won a People's Choice Award or not. So did you like them or did you punish them? We don't know. It's the industry doesn't vote on that. The people vote on that. So first thing, next week, Monday, Tuesday, is the Somerset round. That's the Crush City round. Everyone who goes to the briefing at the Spit on the, there's all competitors, not just general public, gets the sample pack of Crush City baits. And there's a couple of baits in there, those suspects, are going to play this weekend, I think.
I think they'll all play, except, mate, all the 4-inch heavy hitter will catch them. This time of year, they're choking on big bony brim, getting big and fat, so you can pretty much catch a bass on any plastic in that pack.
Yep, and every competitor gets one of those for the Crush City round. Thursday, Friday is the Wivenhoe round, and to be honest, I think a lot of people are more excited about Wivenhoe than Somerset. I think the potential is there for some really good bags if you find the fish, and that's always the equation at Wivenhoe. Which way do I go out of Logan's Inlet? Do I go south to the buoy line or do I go north to the rest of the lake? And if you screw it up, you're basically buggered.
Yeah, because it's 6 knots everywhere, but it is the potential to, in a few casts, you can have a few bass over 2 kilo, no worries at all, but they do move very quickly in the lake, so where they are one day, they might not be there the next day. So if you're Johnny on the spot, it'll take 2 or 3 casts and you can be right up there.
You get healthy in a hurry. And this is a weigh-in event, so the bag limit in Queensland, per person, 5 fish. So have a big live well. If you catch 5 2-kilo fish, you're going to be fish wrangling for most of the day. One of the things about Wivenhoe, of course, is it's a 6-knot only lake. So if you start last at Wivenhoe, you're going to be last when you get to the spot because you're not allowed to overtake anyone, and everyone can do 6 knots, I'm pretty sure. Now, even though Crush City has sort of taken the limelight, I went to see one of your staff, Mitch Petty, who's not fishing the event this weekend, and I borrowed a couple of his deep crankbaiting rods. So, of course, the Rapala, the DT20, one of the gun lures up there for the deep crankbaiting and getting the lures right down. But it's on one of his 13 fishing. This is like a sample rod that you had.
Yep.
7 foot 9 inch, so super long. It's got the micro guides on it. It's got 12-pound fluorocarbon straight through. It is going to get that DT down a lot. So I reckon this might be one of the tools that'll play for there. And sponsor Karma, how good's that? 13 fishing reel, 13 fishing rod, Rapala lure, and I hazard a guess to say that's some Suffix fluorocarbon advance on there. So, Mitchy, I hope you've set me up. I'm not the world's best bass fisherman, but if I play this game enough times, I'm going to get lucky, I reckon.
Well, he's a deep crank specialist. He does a bit of long lining as well, but I've thrown the DT20s at Somerset on spot lock with the wind behind me, with 8 pound and hit the bottom 24 foot on the cast. So they get right down.
Awesome. I'm going to have some of those packed there to do the damage. We talked about the crush shitty baits as well, but word has it on the street that maybe the ice jig might be getting a few bites, and I know Rapala make some versions of those as well in all sorts of different sizes. I
know someone standing next to me asked me for my ice jig box this morning.
Give me the ice jig box. You never know. I have got an assortment of ice jigs, but some's good, more's better.
Yep, that's exactly right. And it's at times when you can just sit in front of their face, annoy them, and so many times over the years at Somerset, the fish have been flatlining on the bottom. You can put an ice jig down in front of them, get one to bite it, follow it, and then the whole school will lift up and you can bang a few fish pretty quickly.
Last thing we've got to talk about today is an incentive that you launched at the after show again called the Rapala Rookies. I've been working for the last months and months and months to catch my Rapala Trophy Hunters fish. You've got four now, so yep, I'm going to work my way through that list and hopefully get a few more before it runs out. But tell us about Rapala Rookies, because if you like your badges and you're under 16 years old, this program's for you. Timmy, tell us about it.
So we talked about on one of the last live shows, we talked about the Trophy Hunters, which is badges for adults. Like if you get a barra over a metre on a Rapala lure, you'll get a badge. We really think the kids are the future of the sport. We want to get them off their computers, off their phones, and go out and go fishing. So with the Rapala Rookies, you download the Trophy Hunters app. You just select the rookie section so the parents can do it for their kids, and they can catch any one of the 17 species of fish on a Rapala lure. So it can be an undersized brim that big. Download it onto the app. We'll send you out a badge. So it's rewarding kids for going fishing, and we think it's going to harvest the next generation of anglers, and hopefully all those anglers love using Rapala lures. But the one I like the best is with the rookies, we've got the classic catch badge. So basically outside that 17 species of fish, if they catch a catfish, if they catch a pike on a Rapala lure, put it into the app, they get the badge as well. So awesome.
So if you've got kids or if you are under 16 years old and want to participate, it's as easy as downloading the free app and catching something on a Rapala lure. Now that could be a crushity, could be a hard body Rapala, anything in your range. What about storm lures?
No, just Rapala lures.
Okay, so not even Storm. Williamson out, Storm out, Rapala it's got to be. So great incentive. Doesn't cost you anything to enter apart from the fact that you must have a Rapala lure tied on. Timmy, last question I've got for you is, where is going to have the bigger winning weight, Wivenhoe or Somerset?
Peter Faust. No, okay. I think it'll be Wivenhoe. I think someone will find a patch of big fish that haven't been pressured, and I think they'll be able to swing for the fences and get some pretty big weights. However, Somerset's still a big dam, and at this time of year, you might still get some on jerkbaits at the edge. Some might have transitioned down to deeper water, so whoever could crack that pattern. But gut feeling is Wyvern will have the bigger fish.
There you go. Geez, I hope they haven't gone off the edges. I really like fishing the edges at Somerset. We've only had like one warm day. It's like, bass, toughen up. If it's a little bit warm in the shallows, just stay there another week and then you can go down to your summertime spots. Timmy, thanks for sponsoring the 13 Fishing Bass Pro Series. After these two events, the final will be set for down at St Clair. We've got that great week down there, Glenbourne Australian Open, the Rapala Bass Australian Open, and then the 13 Fishing Bass Pro Series Grand Final at St Clair at the best time of year down south. There are going to be a lot of people, and I think there's nearly 40 boats entered in these two events now that want to make that event, because you can win that 495 or 498 alloy craft. The 115 motors are on them. They're coming together, those prize boats, and they must be worth at least $60,000+. So someone fishing that 30 boat grand final is going to win it.
That's a pretty good bloody chance of winning, isn't it?
It is. I like those odds. There you go. Whole segment without it falling over. We're on fire now. We're gonna go to the next round of the 13 Fishing Bass Pro Series at Wivenhoe now. And even though Tommy Wood is the Samaki ambassador, he's fishing the Somerset round and not the Wivenhoe round. But we caught up with Tommy a little bit earlier in the week to talk a little bit about America, but mainly about X-Braid and catching bass. Tommy Wood. Last planning I heard from you was that, I'm not going to fish any tournaments this year. I'm going to save all my money and go to America. And then next thing I see you entered in the Somerset round of this great doubleheader, the Crush Shitty round, and then the X-Braid round, mate. You're trying to use a bit of sponsor karma, but for the event before it actually happened. Welcome to life.
Yeah, thanks, mate. No, it might be a bit early, but I love Somerset. Had a really good tournament there a couple of years ago, and the edge fishing there is just so much fun. So I couldn't really say no.
Yeah, it's at the right time of the year, isn't it, for both of these lakes? Bass really like cool water. The cooler the water gets, the more up on the edges that they get. And this is sort of the only time of the year when they really are sort of shallow, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I'm not no expert with Aussie bass, but I love catching them on the edge with the live scope, so I'm definitely going to be there.
So, and this is is this your plan? Is it all the eggs in one basket? And if it's anything except that, you're in trouble?
Yep, if it doesn't work out, we're just going to go home.
Tommy, firstly, before we talk specifically about the lakes, tell us about how your preparation's going for America. Look, I'm going to let it slip now that your phone stand for this interview is your Bassmaster trophy. Is that the only thing it's good for, or what?
Yeah, it's just a big heavy weight, really. So it's pretty good for that. But yeah, no, getting all prepped for the US. It's been a bit of a mission. We finally got the visa sorted, which was a big sort of thing I had to get over. Heaps of weight off my shoulders having that all sorted out now. So we've got all clear to go. Just got to pay the entry fees when they come out, and we're going to be in the US next year.
So if anyone's planning and following your footsteps, I assume the biggest amount of advice you could give them is to never overstay your visa when you're in America. Is this true?
Give yourself at least 10 days, I reckon. I thought I had 2 days up my sleeve, but I was negative 4 hours.
Yes, and this has what sort of complications afterwards?
Very expensive ones.
Okay, so that's good for young players. This is straight from Tommy's mouth. It's like Tommy likes learning the expensive lessons, and this one was pretty dear, wasn't it?
Yep, like father, like son, they say. So learn off Rob Wood.
There you go. Tommy, you're heavily involved with Samaki. Josh and Kate and the guys from Samaki have been a great sponsor of yours and a great sponsor of ABT over the years. We have this thing called sponsor karma. You know, you always tend to do really well in the Samaki round when it comes to the Barra tournaments. The X-Braid round is at Wivenhoe. Does it transfer on like a road trip if you don't do the X-Braid round? Do you get a little bit rub off in the Somerset event or what?
I hope so. I hope it works like that. But yeah, I sort of missed the boat there on that one. But yeah, we'll see how we go. I think any sort of sponsor karma would be nice, but at least it's close enough.
Yeah, and when you say it's close to home for you, it's what, about an hour and a bit drive to the lake to Somerset?
Yeah, I think it's like an hour and 2 minutes from my driveway, so it's nice and easy.
Nice. Now, X-Braid itself, it's a Japanese, really high-quality braid, and I've done a lot of braid testing over the years, and what I've learned is that Japanese are very honest when it comes to rating their braid. If it's a 30-pound braid, it breaks at 30 pound. It's not like some of the American braids where a 30-pound breaks at 60 pounds. So run us through your favorite X-Braid lines for bass fishing. Like, what are you going to have on your reels come this event?
I usually go with X-Braid with the two. There's a two finesse series. So there's a finesse Shangri-La, which is a really light wire. Like it almost floats in the air when you cast it. It casts a mile. I like using it on blades, like little ZX blades, because when you hop them, the braid almost floats, so you can see that bite tick when they bite. And then there's another braid, the old Tollus. It's like a red and white one here. I got it spooled up on this reel, and it's a bit more abrasive resistant, but it's still super thin, so it's so sensitive. I've used it for about, I'd say 3 years now. Yep. And the good thing about good quality braid is you don't have to re-spool it all the time. It lasts a while. So that stuff's awesome jerkbait braid. I used it that a couple of years ago at Somerset, and it's been great. So,
do you find that the cheaper braids last a year or 6 months or 18 months? You got to swap them over, and the more expensive braids last longer?
100%. You'll notice you notice when you tie your FGs with cheaper braids that like a year or 6 months down the track they start to get real fluffy and all that sort of stuff. Whereas the more expensive stuff like X braid, it's gonna keep its quality. So,
what sort of with in mind the fact that it's pretty accurate, the breaking strengths? What breaking strengths do you use on your, say, your blade rod and your jerkbait rod?
I've pretty much doubled everything. Jamie McEwen, he gave me a bit of a rundown before I got onto a bit of the X-Braid when I did some brim fishing, and he said he was using 14-pound instead of 4-pound. So you can go up a fair bit. So I'm running usually 18-pound to 20-pound on my jerkbait rods, and I'm tying an 8-pound leader.
Yep.
So you can pretty well up it nice and high, and you got heaps of breaking strain, but nice thin braid.
Let's. I know you're not going to let go too much before the events, but let's assume that you're going to be throwing a jerkbait or two around the edges at Somerset. What are your favourite baits for doing that?
Oh, there's a whole heap. We got some new ones from Samaki, which I'm excited to try. I haven't even tried them yet. So we got 2 models that have come out, and these are the there's a DSLC and a MSLC. So the MS and DS is just medium swim and deep swim, and then the LC stands for long cast. So these bad boys have got little cast weight in them now, and out of the box we got decoy hooks on there, suspending. So they're going to be awesome. I'm actually keen to try these on Barra too. I know you are. I think they're going to be mint little barra lures. They're going to love these little things. But for bass, those 2 little guys right there are going to be awesome. But things like those, any 60 mil jerkbait really, there's all different Japanese brands like Jackal and Evergreen and everything. So
Yeah, but you know what? The sponsor karma kicks in on your own ones, mate. We know.
100%.
Now, you were at the After Trade show on the last weekend, and Josh was saying that the little kids knocked a little bit of stuff off the Samaki stand. But here I am doing an interview with you, and you've got some of the hard to get samples in your own hand, mate. Were you one of the kids that were knocking stuff off?
I was. I'm a little bit taller than the other kids, so I can get away with it. But yeah, did have to pocket a few little lures.
When are those 60 mil jerkbaits coming out?
I think October, November. So not too far. That's it. That's what Samaki was sort of pushing for this year, was to get the stock ready so it's actually ready to sell in time for consumers to buy, because in the past we had to wait a few months for it to come in, and yeah, so they're a bit on top of it now, so they should be out ready to fish pretty soon.
And if you want to see that colour sample of Josh's, he hasn't got it.
Yeah, no, he hasn't got it.
Let's have a little chat now about live scopes, because I know it'll be like me. Everyone asks you what sort of settings you're going to use, what mode you're going to use. Tell us how you're going to have your live forward-facing sonar set up for Somerset. Perspective or forward mode? Which one?
Probably going to be forward mode. I think you just get more bang for your buck with bass with it, because you get to see so much information. Using forward view, the good thing about the GUM LVS 34 is you can see like these little 60 mil jerk baits. You can see them out. I had it out probably 135 foot on pre-fish, and you can see them land. You can see them swim. So that's the biggest thing, is being able to watch your lure the whole cast, know where you're at. And oftentimes when you're fishing these spots, like, because I had no electric battery, I actually forgot to charge my battery on the weekend. So I had no electric. I was going up into spots where you wouldn't usually go, and I'd be floating out from the bank. And there's actually bass on places you wouldn't think there would be bass, and they don't come out till you cast at it. So once you cast and you start bringing your lure out, you watch them all come out of the bottom and start swimming around your lure, and it's game on.
So basically, this tournament for you is just like fun fishing on steroids.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I just love Somerset, and I love the fact that any chance you can get, you're going to get like a huge bass, really. So there's a lot of those big girls in there, and they're good fun.
I think that's right. I think you could catch a 50 centimetre fork length bass anywhere from 1 foot to 50 foot of water in that joint, and literally nobody knows where the next one's going to come from. So I think it makes a pretty level tournament arena. Plenty of boats entered. I think we're near 40 boats for each of those events. So the payout's going to be good. We're going to get the grand final field set after that. And the only way I think you're going to make the grand final is if you win. Win and you're in, mate. You're sort of like Carl Jochimson at the moment. Hey, you've got to win something to get in there.
Yep, that's the goal. Give it a good crack. But yeah, no, I'm just going for a bit of fun. I love the place. So yeah.
That's awesome. Mate, one final comment. Samaki, is it going to be a Samaki lure that wins one of these tournaments or not? What's your pick?
I'm pretty confident in it. I think the good thing about these is they haven't ever seen it. So I think I'm the only other person in Australia that's got one other than Josh. So I think they're going to be
those kids. And those kids,
and those kids, they got a few of them actually. So hopefully they don't fish Somerset on the weekend.
Tommy, thanks for joining us. Good luck on the weekend, mate. I want to be one of your last bass tournaments, I think, in Australia before you swing in the green fish around, mate. Look forward to catching up with you up there and seeing your name at this end of the leaderboard. Go X-Braid.
Awesome. Thanks, mate.
Right. No ads are allowed. Nicole says, I don't want to put a glitch in the matrix. So no ads tonight. It's just all solid content. It is way too much Steve Morgan in front of camera. One of the questions that came up on YouTube was asking me, should they buy an Eagle or a Garmin Striker 7-inch sounder? Nicole, who was that question from?
Matari Elwes.
There you go, from Matari. Is this an ABT hat? ABT hat on. Garmin are an ABT sponsor, aren't they? At least she is. So get a Garmin. Easy. Get the sponsor Karma. That said, I do have all three brands in my boat. I have a Lowrance at the helm, I have a Garmin Live at the front, and I have a Humminbird for mapping up the front as well. So my best advice for buying a small sounder is buy the one that gives you the biggest screen size for your dollars, because in that sort of range, they all do a very similar job in finding the bottom, finding fish, showing you a bit of mapping. So whatever you can get the best deal for bigger screen is, because you're never going to say, I wish I bought a smaller screen. You're always going to say, wish I got a bigger screen. So whatever the biggest screen you can afford, go for that. Next story we have is we're going to stay on the bass side of things. Back when we were in Victoria earlier in the year, we grabbed Keegan Painter aside. Keegan's sponsored by TT. TT, a great sponsor of ABT. And we got him to pick out 3 lures, and he's going to tell us how to fish them in lakes. And it's been so long since we fished a lake. February, in fact. We did rivers for the New South Wales doubleheader this year. Let's get a refresher from Keegan on how to fish some of these TT baits in the lakes.
What were you calling the segment?
What am I called on the segment?
Yeah. Technique.
TT Techniques. Techniques. Steve Morgan here, Australian Bass Tournaments. That's Lake Glen Maggie behind me, famous for big Victorian bass. And I've got TT's Bass Pro here, Keegan Painter. Keegan, wasn't a great day for you on the water today, but you are an exponent of using several of the TT baits to get the job done through the whole ABT Bass Pro Tour. And I thought we'd take the opportunity this afternoon to tell some of these guys maybe 2 or 3 key TT baits that you're going to need to get cracking on the bass. And you've got a few with us here this afternoon, mate. I want you to start with the rod and reel. If someone's just starting out bass fishing and they want one rod and reel to get it done, I assume this is the one you're going to need to get it.
Yeah, this is kind of my workhorse out of the TT range. It's a TT Rods Black Mamba 701 ml, so it's 2 to 4 kilo. I pretty much do a lot of my plastic work for it. Beetle spins. It's really good for crankbaits, blades. That is my favourite blade rod. It's kind of a all-round everything kind of rod.
What sort of reel have you got it matched with? I know it's quite a light rig. It's slightly heavier than a brim rod, but if you wanted just one spin rod to do everything, this would probably do it.
That'd be it. It's I've got the ITX in a 1000 size in the Akuma sitting on it.
What sort of braid and leader would you run on that to start with?
So I usually run it's Bionic 8-pound Bionic in the X9. So it's a 9 strand. So it's nice and thin, but it is super tough.
And what leader have you got on this one?
That would be the... Oh, you're testing me now.
It looks like about 6 pound, I reckon.
It's 8 pound. It's the it's the platypus...
A fluorocarbon or a mono?
It's fluoro.
The platypus fluoro, very cool.
Yeah.
Now, I have had a lot of non-boaters on my boats, and every second one of them has this bait tied on. Take us through that. That looks like the Z-Man Slim Swim in motor oil.
It is.
If you had one bass lure to use for the rest of your life in a soft plastic, what would it be?
It would be that motor oil colour. It's a 2.5-inch Slim Swim. I usually knock the head off it. For New South Wales especially, it got me that first and then second place at St. Clair. And it actually got me the second place here a couple of years ago.
Yep.
Just fishing off the wall that's literally down behind us now.
Yep. And so the head it's on, that's a TT head as well. Take us through what weight head that is. And again, if you were beginning, what pack of TT heads and what pack of plastics would I be buying?
That's a TT Demons in a 1/4 ounce. It's a size 1 hook, so it's really good. It's small enough to put your 2-inch plastics on. Yep. But it's deep enough, so if you can work it shallow and work it fast, or you can let it sink down and do what you need to do, like off this rock wall.
Slim Swims are made in a variety of sizes. Is this the smallest of the sizes?
That is the smallest of the size, yeah.
And the colour is motor oil, don't forget that one.
Motor oil. Anything motor oil, everything eats it.
That's fine for the plastic. And let's talk about retrieve styles, because there's a couple of ways that bass will eat these things. You can pop them off the ground, you can slow roll them. What's your favourite way to fish that bait?
Probably that little cast out to the bank and then just sort of do the little southern little jig.
Let it hit the bottom, pop it up.
And basically, yeah, you sort of cast it out to the bank, sort of jiggle it, keep jiggling a little bit. Sometimes you just got to figure out what the fish want. Sometimes I want to eat it on the jiggle. If you're watching me on live especially, it really, really helps.
Yep.
You can sort of pick out what they want to eat, if they want to eat it on the roll or eat it on the paw as you sort of jiggle it. But essentially, you kind of just work that out as you're going along.
I think the key to becoming a really good bass fisherman is to know what was happening at the time that you got bit. If you were daydreaming away and go, oh, well, was I rolling it or hopping it? If you can't remember that, you're going to be in trouble, because if they eat it on one retrieve, they're more likely to eat the same thing on another retrieve.
Yeah, bass are super picky. Like, it can do your head in at the best of times, but if you're just fishing and not really thinking, you really got to switch on and then put two and two together as to what they're actually wanting on the day.
Now, blades, big for bass, big for brim as well, big for a lot of species. And TT's Switchblade has had a bit of an upgrade. I notice you've got the Switchblade there in your top three. Tell us about the size, colour and model of this little beauty.
Honestly, I can't remember the name of that colour, but it is a 1/4 ounce, that fella. It's not something, I'm a big fan of this next bait that we're going to talk about. Those ones I usually throw more at Somerset, where it's deeper, you can really sort of work them a little bit slower, it's not in the shallow water. And it does make a big difference on what blade in the Queensland dams anyway. Sometimes something can look like a prawn, they don't want it, but you put something that looks like a fish and they'll smack it. So
and that's the difference, I suppose, the difference between that blade, the Switchblade, and this one. What's this fella called?
So that's our brand new TT Switch Prawn Plus. It's brand new, we just released it after just gone.
Yep.
So that's mainly the lure that I use down south a lot. That's in the heavier model, that fella. But yeah, it's honestly, what's working today might not work tomorrow.
When do you use one and the other? So and tell us the difference in technique for the two. Like, this one's got 2 trebles on it. This one only has the couple of stinger hooks on it. When do you pick one over the other? I know the bass will tell you which one they want, but is one better for current? Is one better for deeper water? Is one better when they're feeding on prawns? One better than when they're feeding on fish?
Yeah, honestly, like I'm more inclined to go to the prawn, because everything sort of eats a prawn.
Yep.
But in terms of the deeper water, I'd probably throw the switch prawn, the Switchblade, sorry, because you're not going to get hung up on timber, you're not going to get hung up on rocks. That fella, you can literally drop down in between the trees, on sticks, through the grass, whatever it is, and having the owner assist hooks on it, it doesn't really get hooked up that badly on stuff.
Tell us about the retrieve for this. Like, you're throwing that out, you're going to sink it to the bottom, and then what happens?
Yeah, I've got a little weird retrieve. The retrieve that I worked out when I won a good amount of money and had a few good years in ABT was on the prawns, and it's kind of like it's a hop, but it's you got to have a little bit of a slack in the line. So really, you're popping it, but it's not moving far off the. It's not a hop.
Cracking it.
Yeah,
on a slack line.
it's not a hop. A hop's going to be too high, so you're really just kind of popping the slack, and it's just darting off the bottom.
You want that thing just to jump under you like this far.
It does,
you don't want it to be.
I think the big difference with that is it's the pop, but when it hits those dams like at St. Clair or the silt, it kicks up that bit of silt. So you might be throwing a heavier model in 4 feet of water, but when it's hitting that, it's puffing up that silt, and I think that's what the fish really kind of react to.
And I think these assist hooks, they're so light that as soon as a fish goes to engulf it, the lure may not go in their mouth, but the hooks definitely are first down the hatch.
They're small hooks, but they're strong hooks. Like you can catch good 2 kilo, 2.5 kilo fish on them, and they will stand up to all of it. Tell
us about your PB bass on a TT bait. How gigantic is it?
Oh, I caught some really good ones down on the Hunter River. I think they would have been over a kilo. Some of those Hunter River fish. They were just, and I was just vertical jigging it. I was watching them come underneath me, and they kept moving through as the day went on. Just small hops, vertical, watching them on live, and they would just clunk it as soon as it came off the bottom.
So there you go, be it river or dam, shallow water, deep water, whether they're fishing edges or in the channels, you've sort of got a TT bait there to get you started. The cool thing is, one of these baits, cost you about $20?
Yeah, I think it might even be a tad cheaper than that, the switch prawns, yeah.
So pack of TT jig heads, pack of plastics, couple of those, $60, you're probably all set to go with your favourite little spin rod. If it's one of the TT ones, then you're even happier. But that's what you need to do to get started. A spin rod and $60 worth of lures, you can be out catching bass anywhere on the East Coast.
Yeah, it's not hard. If you do some research, have a look at what's working in the place that you're going to. But the TT stuff, it's not the most expensive stuff out there, which is why we try and market it like that. And it gets people to buy it,
Now, one more super important tip, if you're just getting some of the Z-Man plastics for this first time, do you throw them in with your other plastics?
No. Just the best way to keep a Z-Man plastic, keep it in the packet. It's not going to kink the tail or anything, but the Elastec material will react with any other plastic unless it's like a Mon-Cross tackle tray.
Yep.
Even if you throw it in a tackle tray or something, it's going to melt and it's going to end up in a big pile of Play-Doh.
So they don't play well with others. Keep them in the original packs and you'll have no worries.
That's correct. I've learnt the hard way when I was younger, yeah.
There you go. We all have done that. Keegan Pater, thanks for taking us through that this afternoon. Hopefully.
And we are lucky that we are coming up to the last segment because the producer here is fading quickly. It's filled the whole bin up full of tissues. I should be wearing a P95 mask or something like that, I'm pretty sure. But after that last segment, I'm going to modify the competition a bit. Of course, it's tell us where you're from and poor old Nicole, wah, wah, wah. You can have one of those comments. But if you can roast Keegan in a way that makes Nicole laugh out loud, then maybe that might get a prize. Or I might even get a separate prize for that. Let's just have a go because all Keegan's mates are watching and none of them roasted him. Like in real life, Keegan loves a good roast of himself by other people. So get stuck in there. No swear words in there. Keep it nice. He can handle it. Can he? Well, we'll find out. If he punches me in the nose on Sunday, then maybe he couldn't. But anyway, could be it. Could be an alternate prize. Could be a new prize. Let's move Bass to the side though. Bass is all going. It's going to be all about the Barra. I get up every morning now. There's a woo. Oh look, Nicole sparked up. Barra is happening. I wake up in the mornings now. The sun's getting up earlier and earlier. It's getting warmer. Barra are starting to chomp any time now. Probably already chomping. Probably never stop chomping. But let's go and check out Dicko at Wilson's about how excited he is about the Barra Tour coming up. On a scale of 0 to snap your doodle, it's definitely coming off right at the base.
So we have been in this room before. This is the sample sales room at Wilson's head office on the south side of the river in Brisbane. I'm here with Dicko, but Dicko, it is empty. We've just finished after, and I assume everything went to the Gold Coast.
It did, mate. Yes, it's quite empty at the moment. We have to redo it with all the new goodies that we've got coming.
Well, there were a lot of new goodies at after, and if you haven't seen those videos, they're on mine and Fishing Monthly's YouTube channels. You can see all of the cool stuff in the show. You had a couple of braggers this year. This one here, of course, best rod voted on by the retailers. Yeah. Tell us a bit about that first before we get into Barra Tour stuff. Well, they're made in the room literally next to us.
Yeah,
right
you can hear the bits of noises going on back there.
What is it?
So we had a lot of feedback. We released a target rod, which was designed around forward-facing sonar. So we did it in the bait caster mode. So a lot of guys asked us, why didn't you bring it out and spin? Why didn't you bring it out and spin? Well, we did.
You have, and it was popular. And,
it was.
And look, I know I used we had a couple of your target ones, and I think they get heavier as the number goes up. Correct. You've got a target 1, 2, 3 maybe?
So this is targeted, this one here is designed around that same rod that you like, but we actually stretched it out a bit. We took this one out to 6'8".
A little bit longer, the rod,
in the spin version.
But really light in the hand, and let's face it, when you're fishing forward-facing sonar for Barra or anything, you're sitting there with the rod ready to cast the whole time. So it's important that whole kit is light. And of course, I think all retailers and public like it because it is made in Brisbane. The blanks made in New Zealand.
They are made in New Zealand.
But all assembled, epoxied, shipped, everything from Wilson's head office here. So obviously it resonated with the retailers, and I'm sure in Barra Tour this year, there's going to be a few of these on the water.
I think so. Hopefully we can get them made fast enough. We actually got a lot of orders actually from the shops straight up, so they were really keen to buy it. So
they're accepting of it
now we just need to get all the componentry and put them together.
Well,
when it comes to barra fishing, Wilson's own everything. When it comes
Yeah.
to barra fishing, we've got the Zerek BARRA Tour, which must have been 6 or 7 years now. You've had that,
Yep.
which hubbed around the big Mackay-based 4-event
Yep.
tour, but then we expanded it out to Tinaroo. We've expanded out to the Venom BARRA Australian Open on Lake Awonga.
Yep.
But that southern side is expanding again this year. We're doing an event at Mondrian. So I think that Mondrian Zerek BARRA Tour event and the Venom BARRA Australian Open on Awonga is going to be an epic week of barra fishing to open the season up.
Oh, yeah, no, it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. From all reports, both dams have been catching quite well during winter.
Yep.
So we'll see what happens as it comes through this.
It seems like we didn't
Springtime?
have the cold winter like we had last year. A few fish kills and stuff like that. It seems like we've escaped a lot of that this year, and those big fish are surviving, and they're going to play this year. And as you say, the bite didn't really slow down in winter, or at least it changed a little bit.
The reports that I've been hearing, it's been a mixture of fish, which is good, which you want to hear. You want to hear about those small fish being caught, but then you also hear about those big fish being caught. It's not all about big fish. It's about, it's a good mixture.
So I think for the important thing, if you're a southern angler, want to get involved in that southern tour, those two events are limited to 50 teams. Now, we have had more than 50 in the mid to late 2000s. We had big numbers like that on Lake Awonga. And last year at the tour around Mackay, we had 45, 46 boats. So potentially the southern tour will sell out this year. So if you're thinking of doing it, enter and then work it all out later, because you'd hate to get all your time off work and everything and then miss out. One reason why it's limited to 50 is because it's got 50 rulers. But secondly, most of the infrastructure on these lakes can handle about 50 boats. Like, we all know how long it takes to put 50 boats in at Faust on the single lane driving test style reversing ramp that we have there. So that's what structure the Barra Tour is taking this year. We've got the Barra Australian Open, which is next month.
Yep.
The tour starts in Lake Mondrian, but then we move up to Lake Tinaroo, which is, I think, yours and my sort of favourite lake on that place, because the potential is there for 5 metre 20s in a bag.
Yeah.
It could be giant. Or the potential's there for you to get pneumonia and shiver to death. It's both of those
It was a bit like that last year. It was cold and wet. Like, I went to North Queensland thinking, I don't need a jumper. I think the first thing I did was go to Atherton and get a jumper and a raincoat.
I think that Tinaroo, like the other lakes, has been fishing pretty good through winter as well.
Yeah, from all reports, it's been going really good too. Mate, from all reports, they've all been going well. Like, we were worried about Teembra. You talk to guys that have been fishing in Teembra, and it was still going all right. So it's exciting times. Like, I think it's going to be nice to have one of those years where every dam, everyone gets a few fish.
Fishes to its potential.
Yeah.
Now, we move from Tinaroo, then we move to the tour proper, which is the traditional 4 events based around Mackay.
Yep.
They happen at Lake Teembra, Lake Kinchin, and then we have 2 events in the communal atmosphere of Camp Kanga.
Yeah, that's the best part.
Yeah, and look, Dicko likes it. We all like it. There's a few things to note about that 4-event series. Firstly, the normal shirts that we're giving out. We normally make the fishing shirts. They're changing this year to tank tops. So they're for hanging around the camp, talking BS about Barra stories. Big Zerek logo on the front. I'll get Nicole in here to drop a cutaway of what they're going to look like. And if you don't like the look of them, Steve Booth, who's sitting behind the camera there, he had a lot to do with the coloration of them. So if you don't like the colours, Boothie's the man. Just because you're not on camera doesn't mean you don't cop the flak Boothie. So that's the first thing. Second thing is we have some pretty significant internationals fishing again. So, Gussie, of course, was the first to confirm. And the way Gussie told the story was, Gussie, you coming on Barra Tour this year? He goes, Morgul, I've already got my Pearl Jam tickets in Sydney, which meant he's a serious Pearl Jam fan. He's in the fan club. He had early access to the Sydney Pearl Jam concert tickets, which are after the tour in November. He booked them, and then after that, he booked into the Barra Tour. So he's coming across. Carl Jochimson will be back this year.
Oh, cool.
He had a really good second half of his Bassmaster Elite Series, so he's coming back to see the family, do the Barra Tour as well. But the big news is that the number 1 ranked bass angler in the world at the moment, Jacob Wheeler, is 99% confirmed for this year as well.
Cool.
So he'll be coming across. So you probably won't get a chance to fish against someone like Jacob Wheeler at many stages of your lifetime, but the Barra Tour this year, that 4-event series, it's going to be the one. So if you want to potentially knock over the number one, probably the best paid bass fisherman or best paid fisherman in the world, then there's your chance to do it.
Oh, well, that'll be good. That's exciting.
Yeah,
I didn't know about that one.
Dicko's literally rubbing his hands together with excitement right there.
Oh, well, it's good. It's good for the industry. It's good for for our product and the way it is. So, I mean, more of that sort of thing is better, I think.
Yeah, so we have an ex-classic champ. Yeah. We have Australia's only Bassmaster Elite and the world number one on the Barra Tour, mate. Everyone wants to do the Zerek BARRA Tour.
Oh, why wouldn't they?
Of course they would. Now, we all know that the Barra Tour also is a real melting pot for new techniques. You know, in the past we've seen the big plastic swim baits do well, vibes like the fish trap do well. Yep. Last year it was a bit jerk baity, but last year there was the emergence of the live mullets as the go-to forward-facing sonar bait. Run us through what the guys have been using these for and what that's meant to sales.
Well, since the guys sort of realised that how well it worked on the forward-facing sonar thing, the sales went through the roof.
Yep, and I think this was the culprit, wasn't it? This the red devil colour.
Oh, there was.
Was it?
Yeah, there was another. Oh no, it might. That one and the blackjack colour, the purple one.
Yep.
Especially for that nighttime fishing in that basin at Faust was unreal. The boys were all coming up to me going, "Have you got any more of those? You got any more of that colour? You got any more of that colour?"
The colour that no one really wanted before, all of a sudden was the go-to. I'm sure there were tackle shops that had a bit of dust on the top of the red devils.
Yeah, there was a few. Yeah.
And then they were reordering dozens of them. So take us through, if you're looking at a Barra on perspective mode forward-facing sonar, what do you do to catch it on a live mullet?
Pretty much you have to throw it out, past them, bring it past their nose, and so it's coming straight past their nose, and just keep winding.
Because what they do is they peel off, don't they, and they start chasing it.
And I've found with that one in particular, as soon as you get them to turn, you speed up. You don't slow down, you speed up, and you'll watch them, and they'll watch them, and then they'll... And most of the time, the leader knot is in the rod tip.
Wow, so they hit it at the last minute as it's heading back up towards the boat. Now that, like or hate forward-facing sonar fishing, I don't care who you are, you like getting belted by a metre Barra from 1.5 metres away.
Oh, yeah, it's scary sometimes, especially when they miss it.
Yep.
It scares your pants off you.
What sort of modifications are the guys doing on the live mullet? I noticed some put a second hook on it.
So, in the open water, a lot of guys are putting a treble off the front here and upgrading. So, a lot of guys are putting double split rings on the bottom and a bigger treble, and then a treble off the front split ring.
Yep.
So, and that just if you're fishing in the trees, I would suggest just upgrade the bottom treble.
Yep.
Don't worry about the top, because sometimes when the Barra are in the trees, they get hooked up on this bottom hook.
Yep.
And that other treble will catch on the tree.
Catch the
or
tree
something
and they'll
like
get
that.
away.
Yeah.
So it's a ridiculously easy technique. There's not much angler input required apart from different winding speeds.
You just need to get your cast right and have it coming past their nose. And you know straight away, as soon as they're interested, don't slow down. Just I slowly speed up, and most of the time, they'll bash it. And sometimes you'll cast out, they don't even look at it.
So it's and that's the thing. Just because you can see him doesn't mean that you're going to catch him. I do remember that Jeremy and Luke, I think, were fishing these right along the buoy line at Faust there, and they were just catching fish after fish after fish, and it was a real show to watch.
It was good
with the guys. So it's good to see, and we've seen through the whole Barra Tour, the naming sponsors baits have done really well. Like all the guys are now stocking up with all the Zereks before they go up there. One, to cash in on the sponsor karma, but two, because these are the ones that are actually catching the fish. So if you haven't got fish traps, if you haven't got live mullets, you're not in the game.
Well, this really started when we were in Tinaroo. The Cairns, the Complete Angler boys.
Yes. I call him Ron Burgundy and H.
So these boys they didn't let too much out, but that's what they were throwing in the middle of the river up there. So they caught a lot of fish on the mullet up there. They weren't telling too many people.
It's funny, isn't it? Owner of a tackle shop should be telling everyone and selling heaps, but he's like, shh, keep it secret.
And then he brought that technique down to
Faust and Teambra,
Teambra, and did the same sort of thing. So It's one to keep in your pocket.
Well, there you go. And that's a team to watch this year. Ron, you were down at the after show. You were talking up your chances of AOI. So you better deliver, mate. You got the best bass fishing in the world wanting to fish against you, mate. So,
Yes.
so let's see how those call goes. Of course, we've got young Tommy Wood before he takes off for his year in America, or however many years he's in America next year. You've got some definite all-stars on the Barra Tour this year.
I was going through the list this morning of what's been on the who's fishing.
Yep.
And there's some. It's good to see. There's a few of the older fellas that haven't been there the last couple of years have come back.
Yep.
So, and some teams that have been split up have been back together. So it's good.
And I looked at the Mondi list. There's a whole lot of Mondi experts there.
Yeah.
And you can cherry pick if you just want to fish your own lake. Come and do it, because it will all help Barra fishing get popular again. Every spring, everyone goes, "Woo, Barra exists. Let's go Barra fishing again." But also, it helps refine those techniques.
What we need to do is put the shout out to all of those guys that have been asking for the Mondi stuff to be put on the tour. Here it is. Here's your opportunity.
Yep.
Come and show us how it's done, because you all talk a lot.
Oh, so Dicko's throwing. There's gauntlets going everywhere.
Yeah. Well, they do. They all talk a lot, but no one wants to turn up and do it.
Well, you are all welcome to ABT Barra Tour. It's a great time. It's the only time where you get like 100 people at the party drinking a lot of beer, and there's more cuddles than punches. I've never seen a punch. I've seen a lot of cuddling though. So, and it'll be the pirate theme this year. A very social event. It's as serious as you want to take it out on the water, but let's face it, a lot of us take it pretty seriously and want to catch our 5-fish limit.
Yep.
All the information on abt.org.au. And I'm just going to run with the story that this empty room is empty because all the prizes are going on Barra Tour. So let's call it that.
There you go. Run with that.
I recorded that section with Dicko yesterday. I forgot how much, Nicole, he threw that gauntlet down. Get your ass to Mondra, and if you're talking about it, come and beat the big man. It'll be fun. That Mondi event will definitely the closest to the big population centre of Brisbane. I think it's half full already. Remember, we got 50 teams only for the Barra Tour events this year. So if you want to go, get in early. Some pretty good roasts there. It's so good that I've got a second set of prize. This is one prize. That one is for where you're from. Craig Thompson on Facebook said he was from Port Stephens, New South Wales. So Craig, send us your address and a Facebook message. We will send this kit to you. But a couple of honourable mentions from Jeff Alford, from Paul Langley. But Rob Berlin on YouTube said about Keegan Painter, dude looks more like ZZ Top than Z-Man. And I thought, well, Nicole thought, clean, clever, and more Z's than you're going to be punching out in an hour when you go back and start sleeping. So we've got a prize for you too, Rob. Rob, send us your address as a message on Facebook, and I will send you out some Crush Shitties, some Atomics, all the good gear there. So I've got a prize for you there. And I think that's it for tonight. The wheels have stayed on. This thing is held together with zip ties, gaffer tape, some dodgy cables, and we got it going in the end. So keep an eye out for the coverage of those last two rounds of the 13 Fishing Bass Pro Series, Somerset Wivenhoe, abt.org.au. I should live stream. If I can get coverage, I'll live stream for most of them. If you want a lesson on what not to do when bass fishing, hang along with me and I'll show you how it's not done. Until next time, ABT out. Bye, says Nicole.